I need to tell you about a specific moment I can't shake. There was this conversation, not a fight, not some big dramatic thing, just a quiet evening, and the person sitting across from me said something so cold, so precisely designed to hurt, and then smiled. Not a smirk, an actual smile, like it felt good. That was the moment I stopped asking who this person used to be, and started seeing exactly who they were. Nobody prepares you for that. You've heard the word narcissist thrown around so casually, it's lost all its weight. Social media turned it into a personality quirk, a hashtag, something you joke about over coffee. And that's the myth we need to tear apart right now, because honestly, it's genuinely dangerous. Here's what most people believe. The narcissist is dramatic, obvious, loud, easy to spot, easy to leave. They think that if someone has truly dropped the mask, if the real self is finally standing in front of you, you'd just know. You'd feel it instantly and run. That belief is wrong, and I think that belief has kept more people trapped than any manipulation tactic a narcissist ever invented. In reality, dark personality types often appear charming, successful, even attractive in the early stages. The only reliable way to recognize them is watching patterns over time, not trusting first impressions. That's the trap. That's how they survive. Because by the time the pattern is undeniable, you're already deep in the relationship, already emotionally bonded, already questioning your own memory of everything that came before. And here's the thing most people genuinely miss. The narcissist revealing their true self isn't one dramatic moment. It's not a movie scene. It's not them throwing plates in the kitchen. It's 3 specific signs, 3 specific shifts in behavior that, once you know what you're looking for, you can't unsee. Let's name them, clearly, because clarity is the only thing that actually sets you free. Sign 1, cruelty that feels deliberate, not accidental. Deliberate. Everyone says something unkind sometimes. Everyone has moments of bad judgment. Everyone can wound someone they love without meaning to. That's just being human. And you, with your generous heart, you've always found a way to explain it away. They were stressed, tired, they didn't mean it like that. But there's a moment, and I really need you to hear this, when the cruelty stops feeling like a mistake and starts feeling like a choice. Malignant narcissists have a higher level of awareness and can deliberately cause harm for power or control. This is the uncomfortable truth most content about narcissism dances around, because it's so much easier to say they're broken, they're wounded, they can't help it. And sometimes that's partially true. But here's what I observed, and here's what the research actually supports. People with NPD understand how others think and feel. They score highly in social cognition, but they're deficient in responding appropriately, except when those reactions are relevant to themselves. Then they're excessively attuned, which suggests they have the ability to attune when they want to. Read that again slowly. They can understand your pain. They just choose not to factor it in unless it serves them. So, when the cruelty escalates, when the comments get more targeted, more surgical, aimed at the exact thing you shared in a vulnerable moment months ago, that's not an accident. That's memory. That's strategy. That's someone who mapped your wounds and is now using that map. They'll accuse you of exactly what they're doing, lying, manipulating, being selfish, with increasing frequency, and you keep absorbing it. Because you can't believe someone who claimed to love you could be doing this on purpose. But they can. And the moment you accept that, not as a theory, but as your actual lived reality, something shifts permanently inside you. Here's what I want you to notice specifically. It's not just the cruelty itself, it's the timing. The narcissist who's dropped their mask tends to wound you hardest when you're most vulnerable, right after you shared something real, after a hard day, after you finally let your guard down a little. That's not coincidence. The abuse is calculated, charm in public, cruelty in private. That contrast, that precise, targeted contrast, That's sign 1. Sign 2, the story they tell about you becomes unrecognizable. There's this myth that the narcissist reveals themselves by becoming visibly villainous to everyone, that suddenly people will see what you've been experiencing, that truth surfaces naturally and justice follows. That's not what happens. What actually happens is quieter, more sophisticated, and way more disorienting. The narcissist doesn't reveal their true self to the world. They control how the world sees you instead. Their stories start contradicting each other as they struggle to maintain multiple versions of reality. But here's the detail most people skip. Those contradictions don't destroy their credibility. Not at first. Because the narcissist is a skilled performer. Their manipulation often includes sophisticated impression management that can fool even experienced mental health professionals. So, they start building the alternate story. Quietly, casually, in the conversations you're not in the room for. They describe you as unstable, emotional, difficult. They share just enough truth, twisted just enough, to sound credible. They position themselves as exhausted, patient, long-suffering, and the people around you, people who only see the public-facing version of this person, start nodding. I want to be honest about something here. This sign is the most destabilizing one because it isolates you. And isolation, I think, is the actual goal. When the people in your life start looking at you slightly differently, when conversations have a new texture, when you sense something subtle has shifted, that's not paranoia. That's the smear campaign in progress. And the smear campaign isn't just about reputation. It's a psychological operation with one purpose: to make you doubt yourself so deeply that you stop trusting your own experience of what's happening. The strategies used are extremely effective and cause untold harm, including making you question your own perception of reality. This is where the myth gets most dangerous. People say, if someone was really doing that to you, others would see it. But they won't. Not at first. Not until they become a target themselves. Because this isn't careless. It's deliberate, strategic, from the beginning. If there's anything consistent, it's that narcissists all follow the same playbook. When the mask slips and people start seeing them clearly, they use the same scripts, the same tactics, the same games. The story about you becoming unrecognizable, that's not accidental confusion. That's cover being built so they can keep operating. And once you understand that, you stop trying to correct the narrative. You stop explaining yourself to people who were already fed a different version. You redirect your energy toward the only thing that actually matters: seeing clearly yourself. Sign 3. Your discomfort becomes their entertainment. This is the hardest one to say out loud. The one that, when I first encountered it, described in plain language, I had to sit with for a long time before I could accept it was real. Most people want to believe that even a deeply damaged person carries some floor of basic human empathy, that when they see you in real pain, something in them responds, even dimly, with something resembling concern. Some do. In certain narcissists, there's genuine confusion and psychological noise underneath everything. But when a narcissist has reached the point of revealing their true self, when the mask is fully gone and there's no performance left, something different emerges. Your pain stops being something they feel guilty about. It becomes something they feel energized by. People with NPD are very quick to anger, rage, indifference, haughty behaviors that just don't coexist with empathy or compassion. But it goes beyond the absence of empathy. Grandiose narcissists can show overt empathic detachment, clear refusal, harsh criticism, open disapproval. The sign I want you to look for isn't the absence of sympathy. You've probably already adjusted to that. The sign is what replaces it. Watch what happens to their energy when you're struggling. Do they become more animated, more confident, more talkative? Does conflict seem to revive something in them? Does your distress seem to bring them into sharper focus? Like they suddenly know exactly what to say and do, as long as what they're doing makes it worse. Eventually, people with dark personality structures can't sustain the positive image forever. They end relationships in ways that involve exploiting the people they got close to and betraying their trust. The exploitation feels different at this stage because there's no longer a pretense of love wrapped around it. There's just the extraction, clean and cold. And I think we get this wrong almost every time. We keep searching for remorse as proof that a person is still in there. We watch their face after we cry. We look for hesitation, a flicker of guilt, some signal that the hurt registered. Genuine remorse is rare for a narcissist. When apologies come, they often feel insincere, self-serving, or tangled up with blame shifting. The performance of remorse can be expert. The real thing is almost entirely absent. And once your pain becomes their source of power, once you can feel the energy shift in the room when you're vulnerable, that's not a damaged person who needs your compassion anymore. That's the true self, fully revealed. So why does this myth persist so stubbornly? Why do so many people see these 3 signs, name them quietly in their own minds, and then immediately start undoing that recognition? Because the myth of the redeemable narcissist isn't just something they sell you. It's something your own mind builds and sells back to you. It's comfortable. It's safer. If they're just wounded, if it's just childhood trauma, if they just need the right kind of understanding, then maybe you haven't wasted years. Maybe the love you gave wasn't misplaced. Maybe it can still become something real. But here's the truth underneath all 3 signs. Research shows that shame, not pride, is a central emotional state in NPD, which explains behaviors that might otherwise seem puzzling. The extreme reaction to minor criticism, the exhausting need for constant validation, the brittleness underneath the confidence. Something is broken inside them. That part is real, and it's genuinely sad in its way. But broken doesn't mean harmless. And understanding the wound doesn't obligate you to keep receiving the weapon. Not all empathy deficits are unintentional. Despite growing conversations suggesting narcissism should be treated like a neurodivergence, that view isn't supported by psychological research or clinical history. The 3 signs, deliberate cruelty, the rewriting of your identity in other people's eyes, the energized response to your suffering, these aren't accidents of a broken psychology running on autopilot. They're the operating system. They're what this person is when there's no longer a reason to pretend otherwise. And the moment you see it, really see it, not through the lens of who you hoped they were, but through the plain evidence of who they consistently prove themselves to be, everything changes. Not because you get angry. Honestly, the anger phase is usually temporary. What actually changes is simpler and quieter than that. You stop constructing alternate explanations. You stop doing the mental work of softening what's directly in front of you. You stop being the writer of the story where they eventually become the person they promised to be. You put down the pen. Seeing the true self of a narcissist clearly isn't the end of something. It's the beginning of something. It's the beginning of you trusting your own perception again. Not second-guessing what you felt in your body before your mind caught up. Understanding that you weren't too sensitive. You weren't imagining patterns. You weren't making it bigger than it was. You were paying attention to real information being presented to you, and you deserve to receive it clearly. The 3 signs exist on a spectrum. They intensify over time. They rarely appear at full force on day 1, and that's by design. People with these traits often excel at hiding their true natures, especially early on. Charming, likable, apparently confident in all the ways that seem healthy. The charming version was the recruitment. What you're seeing now is the operation. And the only protection that actually works, not partially, not temporarily, but actually works, is clarity, clear eyes, the willingness to see what's real rather than what you wished were real, the courage to name what 3 specific signs are telling you, even when naming it breaks something you wanted to keep. Because what it breaks is the illusion, and what you're left with is truth. And truth, even painful truth, is always the ground you can actually stand on. You're not crazy. You were never too much. You weren't wrong about what you felt. You were inside something carefully constructed to make you doubt all three of those things. Now you see it, and once you see it, you're already on your way out.